Hi, this is Ben Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you what you must do to sustain a great relationship. Now the first thing I want to say is there is no such thing as a honeymoon phase. Right? I know that people say, oh, we passed our honeymoon phase. What a pile of bollocks. You know what the honeymoon phase is? The honeymoon phase people say when they're in a shit relationship and the times have completely changed and everything's going wrong. Right? All that a honeymoon phase is, from most people's perspectives, is things are new. Okay? And I don't like it being called a honeymoon phase because it sounds after a honeymoon that then everything else is crap. Right? Put it this way. If you're with someone and you don't like them, right, and there's different aspects of them that you dislike, right? Either do one of two things: accept them fully and love that they're like that, or change the person. There are billions of people in the world, right? Billions of people to choose from. Right, so either accept the person just for who they are and love every part of them, or change them. Pretty simple. But here I want to teach you how you can just sustain a great relationship that's just fantastic, okay? I've got lots of points for you, so I want you to really apply it, and you're going to have a sensational relationship. Number one, let them know how you feel. It's so important. Okay, because if you let them know how you feel, then you've expressed it. Okay, and I want to use an example of let's say your partner picks their nose. Okay, and the first time you see it, they give it a little pick, and you're like, oh, that annoys me, but you don't say anything. Okay, so you just suppress it a little bit, and then they do it, and then you see them, and they're reaching for it, and they don't. And you're like, oh, thank God. And then they do, and you're like, oh, that makes me angry. But you don't say anything. You're sitting there like, you are disgusting. What is going on here? Right? And then it happens again and again and again. It's like a volcano. And then suddenly you just explode, and you go, like, why do you do that? Like, why is it that you pick your nose all the time? Like, they really, like what the hell? Why do you do that? And then they'll say, where did that come from? I didn't even know that I did that. If it bothers you that much, why don't you say anything? Right, and this is what happens in relationships. What happens is people suppress stuff for such a long time that they're never able to really express it. So instead, just let them know how you feel. Say, honestly, when you put your nose over, I was kind of freaked out. I'm not really sure why. I think I've got an issue, right? But at least you're expressing it and you've got some sort of dialogue. Like, it's not for everything, but you need to be able to let them know how you feel. Because if you suppress everything, then it's going to be like a volcano explosion, and that's why you have so many arguments, right? So if you let them know how you feel straight away, then you don't have to worry about all these things constantly happening and then just explosions happening left, right, and center. Next, love tank. Love tank is like the best thing just ever for any relationship. If you haven't done it yet, you need to. Now, it's slightly a change technique from the 5 Love Languages. It's a great book. I'll put a link in the description. You should buy it, check it out. It's an awesome book to understand yourself and your partner in relationships. So this is how I think is the best way to sustain a relationship. This is what's going to happen. A love tank, in essence, is it's going to be on a weekly basis, and you're going to pick a time or a place to go with your partner consistently. Okay, so in my circumstances, it's always every Sunday, and because of traveling around, it tends to be at a different time. But for you, if your partner and yourself are in the same location and you're living in the same house, you go to a coffee shop, go somewhere, and this is what's going to happen in the love tank. Okay, it's going to consist of a series of questions. Right, the first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, right, what is your love tank this week? Right, so they're going to say, oh, I don't know, 5, 6, and you say, okay, why is that? Right, so now they'll tell you why, and then you're going to see, when did you feel most loved? And then you're going to say, what can I do next week to make you feel more loved? Right, and these 4 questions are going to really help create these little changes in your relationship where you can start to understand what it is that you do that makes them feel most loved, and what you can do next week to make them feel even more loved, right? As well as getting an understanding of the week of what happened. Because in most relationships, you do loads for the other person, but you don't get any feedback on if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Because you could spend 5 minutes doing the washing up, and that wouldn't mean anything compared to if you just spent 5 seconds telling them that you really appreciate them. Right? I mean, they're just small. There's such small changes because To sustain a relationship, you need to understand what it is that you need to do to make your partner feel incredibly loved, to feel even more loved, right? So really go out of your way to do this. It's a must, and I've worked with people around the world, and it really helps change relationships. Okay, so this is like a must to implement. Next, vision. You need to have a vision for your relationship. Why is this important? Well, we'll put it this way. If I talk to you about your business or your career, do you have a vision for your career? Do you know what you want? And you're like, yeah, well, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. So why is a relationship different? Why would you not have a vision for it? Is a relationship just that, a relationship? Something to think about. Like, what is the ultimate vision that you have for your relationship? What is it that you ultimately want? Ask yourself questions like, where do I want to be with my partner? How often do we communicate? Like, do we have sex like once a week? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to think about this. Like, create that vision for yourself instead of just accepting the relationship and then it dies downhill and then you'll wonder why it's not the relationship that you wanted, because you don't even know the relationship that you want. So what needs to happen is you need to really clarify that vision, understand what it is exactly that you want, and create that vision for yourself. And then work towards that vision, constantly improving your relationship, making it better and better and better. And this is where you're sustaining a great relationship and it's becoming an even greater relationship instead of accepting mediocre and average, which is what most people do in life. But you're watching this video, you've got this far, so you're not mediocre. So I would say make sure to have a vision and really think about and write down what that vision is and share it with your partner, because then you can speak about it, talk about it, and be like, yeah, I love this. Let's work towards that. That sounds amazing. Number 4, create a monthly magic moment. Right? This is awesome. So in essence, what you want to be doing is each month create something like just like a magical experience for both of you. Whether it's like going wine cheese tasting, whether it's going to like a rooftop bar, whether it's just sitting down just by yourselves and just having like your favorite type of chocolate and just something magical that's new, adds a bit of spiciness and just creates that element of just fun in the relationship. Instead of it being so boring and routine orientated, you've got something monthly that you look forward to, and you can surprise your partner with this. You don't need to say, oh, today's our monthly magic moment, right? Instead, like, plan it in advance, really think about it, and that'll help you to create something that they truly like really appreciate, and it will make a world of difference. So that's a huge one. Next, communicate how they receive. This is important. So some people are visual, some people are audio, some people want you to touch them and then like on the arm or on the face, and then they understand they're listening to you. But you need to understand how your partner communicates. Okay, so let's say, for example, right, for me, I'm very visual. So if someone speaks to me whilst I'm doing something and I'm looking at the screen, I'm not really going to pick up anything, right? So what I mean is, but if I turn, I've got their attention. Then I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Right? Does that make sense? Because I'm a visual person, but someone may be an audio. They may not be able to see it, or they may need to be able to sit down, hold their hands, and then that's how they communicate. But we all have these different communication styles. So you need to understand the communication style of your partner and then start communicating in that style to be able to communicate more clearly. Next, just listen. That's all you need to do, okay? I'm going to speak to the guys first, and then I'm going to speak to the girls. So guys, you just need to just listen. Sometimes girls just want to have a storm. They just want to speak about a bunch of stuff, and you just need to actively listen. Don't not say anything, but be interested. Don't ask too many questions, but listen and understand them. Okay, don't try and fix their problem. Okay, and that listening is so important. It will make you feel so much more understood and close to one another. Right? Now, girls, you need to listen too. Because often what happens is guys will start saying something and then you'll interrupt. You'll say, well, have you done this, have you done this? And often, let's say a guy's a business owner, he needs to let off steam. So you need to really listen and just listen, because otherwise he won't share stuff with you and he'll be like, oh, I can't be asked to share, I'm just going to do something else, because she doesn't listen. Right, so just listen is so important. No matter what relationship you're in, make sure that you're listening to your partner. Next, forgive. Forgiving is so important. In any relationship, things are gonna happen, okay? Like, let's say you've booked a date with your partner and then suddenly you've got a business thing and then you have to cancel the date, but you want to go to the date, but you can go to the date half-heartedly and you're thinking about this and there's issues, like things are gonna happen and you're gonna get a miscommunication at some point, right? But you need to forgive the partner and say, I'm really sorry, and then move on, right? Instead of holding on to these things or not, that's the worst thing you can do, is not saying anything and waiting to use it as ammunition. Yeah, well, you did this, and yeah, well, you did that, right? No, get over that. Life's too short. The only time we have is now. We have now, then now, then now, and then now, right? So don't spend your time in the past, right? Forgive, move on, and really start creating that relationship you want for yourselves. Lastly, create relationship habits. So why is this important to sustain a great relationship? Because in everything in life, with the sum of the systems and the rituals that we have, so create your relationship habits. Whether it's you always have dinner on Friday evening, whether it's you always smile at each other and give yourself a kiss when you see each other, whether it's you always, when you leave the bed, you always give your partner a kiss. Like, it's these small things that make the biggest of differences. And just write down, because you're probably not even aware of them, and just start to understand some of these relationship habits. Because if you're aware of them, you can do it more often, or you can form your own that are really, really cool. So just think about, what are the habits that I want to create in my relationship? What fun can we have? How can we just make it more fun? How can we celebrate with a glass of champagne? Or, you know what I mean? Just these little things. And this will make such a big difference to make it a great relationship instead of just an acceptable relationship. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening. I hope you create an absolutely outstanding, great, sensational relationship for yourself. Make sure to follow these points and implement all of them. And I look forward to speaking to you very soon.